scribble a few things down there, but I can't find them now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 7 p.m. golf chat show. We're here again talking about all things golf. Just want to thank you all for the questions and thank you all for the support. And on the last two episodes, what we've done so far, there's been a great response. So I just want to thank you for your continued support on that. Tonight, again, we have a special guest. We have Andrew Murray, former European Open winner. He's also a specialist pundit for the BBC and a prostate cancer ambassador. So it is fantastic to have you on the show, Andrew.
Thanks. Pleasure. Really excited to be on your show for the first time.
No, you've been on before. Well, you've not been on the show, but you've been on the channel before. I remember I did one of my first videos with you.
I've never had to put makeup on before, you know.
We've got makeup now. We're getting all high tech on here now. So we're all about just trying to take the emphasis of what's going on in the world right now. I know it's troubled time and everyone's suffering, whether it be business, whether it be physical, but we're just trying to put a perspective on golf and just try and give people a daily place to almost vent all their golf questions away from what's going on in the world. So the one I want to start with is actually one that you mentioned when we were kind of speaking before we went live. And old school is not a bad school in terms of coaching. I think there's a big thing in the minute of being TrackMan, or whatever launch monitor you use. And I actually think it's almost taking an emphasis on away from the skill of golf. I don't know what your opinion on that is.
Well, I would say take the skill away particularly, but I think it's, old school is a good school as well. The likes of Sevi and Jacqueline and all the guys that I was fortunate enough to play alongside.
Yeah.
They learned from the ball flight, and John Jacobs, my mentor and guide for many years, and he would be the first to say, young man, it was a while ago, young man, he said, don't forget the flight of the ball doesn't lie. And actually, I think that is a really, really good saying, and I think that if you can learn from ball flight and divot pattern, then you've got a chance. And I think there's a lot of stuff talked about apart from the club face.
Yeah.
And it's club face control, which is for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember when I used to have lessons with you, and you had been a mentor for me over the years, and we just used to talk about divot, ball flight. If that's right, then we know we're in a good place.
Yeah, well, the ball doesn't lie. If you want to hit it like Montgomery or Lee Chavino left to right and be under control, that's absolutely fine. There's lots of ways of playing.
Yeah, so you mentioned John Jacobs there briefly. I know you were quite close to him. Just give us a little bit more of an insight how big he was, not only for coaching, but the European Tour as well.
He was the grandfather of the European Tour that we now know. There's absolutely no question. He was the Henry Kissinger, Kofi Annan. He was the guy that actually got the PGA and the European Tour heads together, banged them together almost. Yeah. And almost single-handedly, I'd say, was party to making the European Tour Players Division, as it was when I very first started, into what is the PGA European Tour. And the European Tour is now, a mammoth company, isn't it? And it's a global company. And he genuinely, virtually single-handedly brokered the deal between the PGA and the European Tour, as we know it.
That's massive. 'Cause I don't think people just see it as, like you say now, the massive enterprise that it is, and don't realise of what it actually started from. Because you first started off training as a PGA professional with the idea of wanting to be a playing professional. But I think now people almost go down the route of not the PGA, we just try and play, but the actual heart of what the European Tour is, PGA professionals.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much, I started at the place where you played your junior golf at Bramhall. Yeah. And there was no such thing as the European Tour as such. There was the European Tour Players Division. And, as a PGA trainee pro, I could play in the PGA Championship, the Open, or I could try and qualify for the Open. I could try and qualify for the PGA. I could try and qualify for one other tournament. And that was part of the deal of being a PGA pro. In those days, going back, I know I'm harking back a little bit.
No, that's what we want. That's what we want.
There were good times as well as bad. There was a lot of good that came out of those times.
Yeah, I totally agree. So the next question, this is one that came from Instagram. And one person asked, what was it like winning the European Open? So just give us a little bit about the emotions coming down the last and the emotions once you knew that you'd won.
It's weird, really, because I only watch the video literally once a day, really, these days.
Only once?
We're brought up on it, no, they weren't. No, all joking apart, I can remember it like, and it was 30 years ago, by the way, 30 and a bit years ago. It was September at Walton Heath, and there was a lot of fantastic players playing. It was Walton Heath, probably one of the finest courses in the country. It was playing very tough, very tricky. I remember getting a feeling, one of the guys that helped me a little bit with my mental coaching was to try to alleviate the tension in my face. I always used to be very nervous. I was a very nervous player, really.
Yeah.
And I think that he helped me with whistling and literally humming to myself and whistling. And that was for the previous month, and I missed 3 cuts in a row, so that didn't work. And all of a sudden it did work. When I got a feeling that went with the whistle, that all of a sudden I felt pretty calm, and I held a few putts probably at the right time, and led from start to finish, which was amazing. But to walk down the last hole, I could take you to it now, 176 yards, 176 yards to the flag, 186 yards to the back of the green, and it's a small target, and a career 6-iron to about 12 feet. So it was fantastic, because I genuinely, hit a beautiful shot, pulled it a little bit, I suppose, but only by 10 or 12 feet left of the flag.
Yeah.
And managed somehow or other to 2-putt.
I mean, that's what literally, everybody that's a golf, whatever level you're at, is to pull off that shot in that moment, whether it be to win the European Open, whether it's to be win your medal on a Saturday, whatever it is, we train and practice for that moment. And who were you playing with in that group?
I was with Frank Novelo.
Okay.
Who was a seasoned winner in those days. Whereas there was Sam Torres was two or three behind, I think. And it was effectively down to Novelo or myself with 2 or 3 holes to play. I think we were 3 or 4 clear with 3 or 4 holes to play. Woosner was pretty close by, but down the stretch, it was last 2 holes especially, I was 1 in front. And in fact, last 4 holes, I was 1 in front every hole. So I just kept my nose in front by a smidgen.
Were you watching leaderboards then when coming down the stretch?
Yeah, I tried not to give it one of those.
Because that's a massive thing, isn't it? Like, especially when you now doing some work for the BBC at the Open and other events, you see, and it's a massive talking point, especially coming down the stretch. Will the leader look at a leaderboard? And you're saying that you did. What did you consciously look at them? Did you want to know where you were?
I can't believe that people don't look at leaderboard. I find it really difficult not to look at leaderboard. People say you've got to be in the moment, but not for me. I had a quick glance at it. I saw I was still in the lead after 12, I think, and I saw a big leaderboard at 12th or 13th there. And then the next time I looked at a leaderboard was on the back of the 15th. I remember looking at Frank on the 16th tee, and we were, I think, 3 or maybe 4 clear of Sam Torrance. I remember looking at him and saying, well, Frank, it's you or I. And that was genuinely, it was a bit of a, not quite a match play situation, but it almost was.
Interesting.
It was a really amazing feeling, because I remember that I can take you to the feeling of the 7-iron into the 17th and to about 30 feet. It was a really good shot, and a perfect tee shot down the 18th, just past him, and he hit a good one too. So that was a magical feeling.
Fantastic. We've got another question just come in from YouTube. I'm guessing you might know this person that's asked it. A gentleman called Darren Griffiths. He's asked what your favourite bakery is, but he's also asked what's your best piece of advice in being given, golf or not?
Darren Griffiths is the golf director at Monterey. He knows my favourite bakery, which is down in Santa. She's just near it. So, yeah, that's a beautiful place, by the way. Sorry, I missed the question. I want to concentrate more on his bakery.
I need to try this bakery by the sounds of it. He asked, what's the best piece of advice you have been given in golf or not?
best piece of advice in golf was given to me, I think, probably many years ago by Tommy Horton, the late Tommy Horton, real legend of the European Tour, European Seniors Tour, as well as European Tour and Ryder Cups. And he said, Andrew, let me give you one bit of advice. He said, eat steak. He said, play steak, eat steak, play steak. Eat hamburgers, play hamburgers.
What was the meaning behind that?
And the other bit of good, the sequel to that was never go out for dinner with a bad putter.
No. I think, Tom's told me that, and I'm guessing he's probably got that from you as well.
Yeah, he definitely did. I think that's, that was the same conversation I had with Tommy Horton.
Yeah.
The lots of advice I've been given, there's lots of advice I've rather not heard as well.
I'm
people
sure.
Trying to say the right thing and helping you on the way, but can confuse you at the same time. But keep it simple, I say.
Ultimately, it's just touching on that. Before I ask you another question, guys, if you are watching live, please do ask me and Andrew as many questions as you can. I will put them over to him, and we will answer as many as we can. So please do comment down below. And if you are enjoying this content, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Now, just touching on the advice kind of section, me and on last night with Dave Horsey, and we were speaking about building a good team around you. How important do you think that is? Did you have a team around you when you played, and how important do you think that is for young professionals now?
I think it's absolutely crucial. I didn't have a team particularly. I would say I had a coach. Ian Lee is still my coach up at Haycall in Wigan. I still see him 40 years later, and I'm probably still trying to set the club a little bit better than he's been trying to get me to do for all these years. But I think it's really important to have a good team, and I think it's really important, Alex, that a lot of the players they just believe they have their own team around them. The fit guys, they're whether it's wives or caddies or whatever it is, but. I was watching Tommy Fleetwood last night, funnily enough, in an interview with David Fearty last night, and he was talking about what a great team he has around him. Of course, with his new wife Claire, and with Ian Finnis, and with the fitness guy that he works alongside as well. They've been working together for a very long time, and of course, Tomo was really turned it
on his head, didn't it? Really.
Having a good team is crucial, and believing in them and not losing faith in what you know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it probably takes, like, for example, Tommy got on tour, he struggled a little bit, and then he's found his team. It probably takes a while to build up the people that you trust, the people that you want to be in your team. And I'm sure you've probably got to go through a few bad team members before you get to the right one.
I think that's right. And it is a bit of luck. It's a bit like finding a coach in some ways. You can find a coach literally by luck, and you can go to some of the better coaches and some of the world-renowned coaches, like Fleetwood did, like I tried to, and they didn't quite work for me. So it was back to Ian Lee and Pete Barber. So for me, it's just a little bit self-belief is obviously massive.
That's key, isn't it? That's key.
Yourself and how you behave under pressure.
Sure. That is absolutely key. Now, you're a person who's played in 10 majors. What is your favourite tournament you've ever played in? Now, it can't be the one that you won. It's got to be a different one.
The one I always wanted to win from the very early days was the Irish Open, because in those days it was one of the three events that I could choose to qualify for. It was such an unbelievable atmosphere that it was played between Royal Dublin and Portmarnock. And the links at Portmarnock and Royal Dublin, both fantastic. The crowds were they gave it so much atmosphere. It felt like the Open, but there was more kids there. I think that would be my take on it. It didn't feel quite so stuffy as the Open feels sometimes as a player, but it just felt more atmospheric than the Open. But I'm sure, given the choice, you'd rather win the Open. But the Irish Open for me was the people made it. It's fantastic.
Interesting. So we've got another question. Darren's put another one on here. What is the best what is Andrew's best story that he has encountered during his playing time, or what is his best disaster story? I'm sure Darren might know this. This is probably why he wants you to say it live on here.
Darren, you can tell that Monterey's on lockdown, can't you? Listen, I ran out of golf balls trying to qualify for the Irish Open, actually, at Royal Dublin, funnily enough. I don't know why I like Royal Dublin still. Yeah, I ran out of golf balls on the 18th trying to qualify, so I hit every golf ball in the bag in the field on the right of the 18th green. That was pretty big.
Now, is that your fault or Caddy's? Is that your fault or Caddy's?
Caddy's, wasn't it? It was it was the big high right, 4 on the right with 4 iron about half a dozen times, if I recall. Yeah, I've had a couple of disasters. Hit it out of bounds off the first tee a couple of times. Once at the Scottish Open at Haggs Castle in the old days, playing with a local favourite. That was Bernard Gallagher. So he was top dog in those days. And then yeah, I hit it out of bounds actually to the right. Obviously, I've got a bit of a
there's a theme going here.
Yeah, it's like being in a psychiatrist chair. So I hit one out of bounds with an iron as well. Which even when I think about it, it's fringe stuff. At Conway in the Welsh Senior Open, and I was fearing the practice ground on the right of the first tee at Conway. We were playing off the back tee, and it was into the wind, and it was a hard shot for somebody that fades the ball, and I just taught myself out of it in a big way. It was ridiculous.
It's such a massive thing, isn't it? That mental side of it, especially when you're a fade of the golf ball, say it wind into off the left and the trouble's on the right. It's hard to stand there and commit to it. The next question has come from a young guy on Instagram. He says he's looking to turn pro. He's 18. He's now of handicap of 6. What would be the best piece of advice you would give him? Now, I know a lot of people will probably hear the handicap of 6 and 18 and go, oh, that's not low enough. But from my experience, it's, okay, you have to have a handicap to get into an event. We know the amateur circuit now is so competitive, and you've got young guys who are even winning at this age. But what would be the one piece of advice you would give to him?
Well, he's got to get better, obviously. He's got to identify his weaknesses and his strengths, and work at his weaknesses, because he's not 6. He's not a fantastic player. He's a good player, obviously.
Yeah.
And if he wants to turn pro, there are many parts and facets to pro golf, aren't there?
Yeah.
You know as well as I do, there's a million facets to pro golf. You can become the tour pro, and Poulter was off 4 handicap, if I recall, when he turned pro. Well, I was off 4 handicap when I turned pro. I'm sure there is lots of really good players that turn pro off those sorts of handicaps. Not many, it has to be said, and less these days, I suppose. The American college systems sort of weeded all that lot out. I think it's 98% of the American tour is made up of collegiate players who play significantly better than scratch anyway.
Yeah.
So the best bit of advice, just get working hard in the gym, get fitter than everybody else, and if you want it, then there's lots of good stories about people that want it more than the others.
That's the one thing I was thinking as well. There's a lot of these players, and when I used to caddy for your son Tom, like, we sometimes might play a practice round or be in an event where we play with a local amateur, and these guys who have qualified for the event either through their position in world ranking or they've won an invite, whatever it might be. You can see some of them have a real hunger, and some of them actually feel like they deserve to be there already. And you can sort of see in their eyes that, they don't really want it. They're good, they got the talent, but they don't really want it. I think more than anything, and now I'd say if you've got a little bit of talent but a lot of hunger, that goes a long way.
Yeah, I'd say that's absolutely right. I think you've got to want it.
Yeah.
And an expression that I use lots of times, you've got to want it. You've got to want to do it enough. And if you don't want to do it enough, then you don't care what you're doing, whether you're in whatever profession.
Yeah. You've
got to want to do it.
So next question, and this is coming from YouTube again. It's not Darren this time again. Who is the best person you have played with? And I'm going to sort of change it a little bit. And who would be the person out of those people you would look up to the most?
Sebi's probably the. I think Sebi. I played a number of times with Sebi. I was very lucky. I played with Sebi a few times, and I think everybody looked up to Sebi. I looked up to him. All the other tour pros in the world looked up to him virtually. He was an enigma. He was obviously a legend. He was incredibly selfish, but then he was incredibly giving to the younger players, and I think that was it was a bit misunderstood in some ways. That Sebi was, anyway. I think he's been the most inspirational player in my career. I think I grew up alongside, in the shadows. I would call my career in the shadows of Woosnam and Lyle and Sebi and Faldo and Olafable and Langer. There was a real golden generation of European players. And, I think Langer would be the guy that I would probably, because of his longevity, I think Langer would be the guy that I would hold right up there. Sebi, the most inspirational player I've ever played with.
What was it like playing with him? Was it as like the stories say? He's on one fairway to the next, over here, over there, and somehow he signs for like a 67. No. Is that just what the media wanted to hear?
Yeah, listen. He wasn't the straightest driver in the world, but he won at Woburn. And you're not a crooked driver if you win at Woburn and you win as many times as you did at Wentworth, for instance. Yeah. You can't hit crooked up and win as many tournaments as he won. I don't know how many PGAs he won or how many World Match Plays he won, but
you're gonna get found out, aren't you? You're gonna get found if you don't drive it well. You're gonna get found out. So you've got to have
those courses. So he could hit it crooked. There's no question he could hit it crooked. But he had this innate confidence to be able to. I played with him at Woburn the last round of the British Masters. I played with him for the final 2 rounds. In fact, we had 2 rounds in one day after a rain delay, and so I played the 2 rounds Sunday, one in the morning and one on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, last game out, he was leading. I was lying second. Woosnam went on to win, and he was so intimidating. I spent 10 hours on the golf course with him. Yeah. In the most, and he was the most charismatic guy you could ever wish to be. And he was, the crowd were going bonkers. Go on, Sebi, you're the man, Sebi. To the point that I said, hang on, what about me? Go on. And they said, I'll never forget. And he said, it don't sound so good, that.
What a story that is. Hi, guys. If you are just joining us now, warm welcome. Hi, Rob. Just put a good thumbs up there. Welcome to the channel. My next question for you, again, comes from Instagram. If you could go back to just turning pro again, what would you do differently about your practice?
Well, I'd get myself fitter and stronger.
Okay.
Before I practice, because I was a big practicer, and to my detriment, I would say, because I became quite a decent player as a kid and as a young assistant pro. I was winning not all, but I was winning quite a lot locally. Yeah. In my little area, in the Cheshire area, and then into the northern area. But I never had a game big enough to take. I did get on the tour, and I stayed on tour for quite a long time, but I never felt big enough, strong enough to hit it properly enough with the big guys. And I think I'd have got myself fitter and stronger, and I'd have concentrated a little bit more on technique at the invent of video technology, really, because there was certain parts of my technique that were seriously flawed, and it turned out that I would still argue that I had a new hip 20 years ago now, the same one Andy Murray's had, so a hip resurface, and I would still say that even though it was a hereditary condition, that my practice put more pressure on my left hip than it needed to have done. Yeah. And so I would have looked at my mechanics a bit more and been a bit more diligent, I suppose would be a word.
So would you say a little bit smarter in what you were doing? Would that be maybe? I don't know. Or not? Because you hear a lot of the guys now at the minute saying they want to work smarter in terms of less technical, more performance. I mean, it's not a relatively new thing, but a lot of people are exploring it, like Edoardo Molinari. He's put a big emphasis on his change of his career, of being down to changing to a performance coach. Would you argue potentially some more of that would have been a good thing for you?
Yeah, I think I wasn't quite analytical enough. listen, I was a skint tour pro. I didn't make any money at all until I won. Really, I was 70-something Neil Romero when I won, so I won from nowhere, absolutely literally from nowhere. So I was a decent player, but I was never a particularly good player, I wouldn't say. And I had a bit of a golden period, I suppose, where I won, and then I did well in a couple of tournaments. But I never felt like I was a particularly good player at all, even though I was the European Open champion and still talk about it to this day. Yeah. But I just felt that I probably didn't go that extra yard in terms of really analysing my game the way I should have done. I wasn't diligent enough. That's what I would say.
Interesting, because it's hard, I guess, to put your finger on, because at the time you think everybody thinks they're doing the right things, and it's only looking back you realise, okay, well, I may have done this differently. And I'm sure even the guys like Rory McIlroy and these guys who are still in their career now, they put a look back on it and think, well, could do something slightly differently now.
I still think that if you look at the likes of Faldo, if you look at the likes of Langer, Seve, God bless him, Seve was a great a person that asked everybody a bit of advice. He asked me a bit of advice about his putting. He'd ask Langer a bit of advice about his backswing. He'd ask Pete Barber a bit of advice about his chipping. He was always wanting something off somebody. It doesn't matter whether they were good players or bad players or had reputations or not. It was just like a frenzy of information.
Yeah.
And he ignored some of it, most of it probably. Langer was more obviously Germanic, different mentality. He was very thoughtful. If Bernard asked you a question about, it was your right arm rotating mid to the downswing, he'd want to know why, and he'd want to know, the absolute. Well, so why do you think that? He wasn't so flippant as Seve, I suppose.
My next question comes to you. Now, you do a lot of work for the BBC on 5 Live, especially around the Open. And going from being a person who has played in the Open and now being on the other side of the ropes, what do you think has changed the most from a player's perspective in terms of how do you think people's games have evolved? Have they changed much from when you were playing on the tour, or is it still the same game but the equipment's changed? I know it's a bit
beyond all recognition. I've only got to play alongside Tom and see how the game's changed. And I see him, not all the time, but I'm lucky enough to stand alongside him. And he's just one of whatever it is, a couple of hundred fantastic players. But when I see them at the Open, the biggest single thing that I think is their temperament of the top guys. The temperament of the top guys really impresses me because of their calmness. Padraig Harrington, when he won at Carnoustie, and I was commentating on his game, he was 3 over after 6, I think, if I remember, and then hold it from 6 or 7 feet at 7 and to save par, and then he nearly hit out of bounds at 8. Fantastic chip, and then came back in whatever it was and shot 71. And I'm sure my hand had been off when I was 3 over after 6 and then nearly out of bounds at 8 and had a shot 77 and nobody had heard of me. But he had that innate confidence, inner confidence, I think, and calmness. And when you see those top players close up in those sort of situations, it's that calmness. Greg Norman had it, when I commentated on him alongside Tom Watson at the Open at St Andrews. I remember thinking they were laughing and joking. And I know that Tom Watson and Greg Norman, they've made millions out of the game, but they still wanted to do well in that particular Open Championship.
Yeah.
And they weren't immersed in this bubble of intensity like I felt I was. They seemed to sort of roll with it, really. I think it's a real lesson when you see them. When you see the top guys under the cosh, I think it's a real lesson for us all. And I think that's one thing I would do if I was going on tour and I was a young guy, like much as you did with your young career. I helped you a little bit as an amateur, and then the best thing probably in terms of formulating what you do now is caddying for Tom on the Challenge Tour and the main tour.
100%.
Feeling, Christ, there's 156 guys tee up every week. They're all fantastic.
Yeah. And just to point on that, everybody, even you look at Europro now, but especially that Challenge Tour and the main tour. I mean, the standard and the level and the depth now, and that shows just in terms of our in terms of our Ryder Cup squads, how good we're doing and the depth that we've got on the European Tour now.
Yeah, right. When I played, I would say there was 20 players that could win the tournament generally. I came out of the woodwork, one or two others came out of the woodwork from nowhere. But as a general rule, there was 20 or so that were going to win. Now, anyone from 156 players that tee up every week wins. And it's been proven that anybody from the Challenge Tour plays on the main tour, they can win as well. So, it's a very different game now.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, well, on to our final two questions. Got one here from Vehicle Leasing Expert. I think we all know who that one is. What's the best golf hole you have ever played?
What's the best golf hole I've ever played? I'd say probably the 12th at Augusta. If I was, going straight off the top of my head, the 12th at Augusta is an amazing hole. It's not long. I do like par threes that aren't particularly, I'm not going at it with a driver like some of them these days. I do like precision par threes. That is the ultimate in precision par threes. I hit it over the green into the back bunker, which was hardly a surprise, was it, with the raised creek at the front?
No.
I did get up and down though, Alex.
Impressive.
That was the once I played. I only played it once in the media. I got through in the media draw one year, so I played Augusta only once, not like many others. But I think probably if you played that 12th at Augusta, that takes some serious beating.
Yeah, I think that's our. Somehow I need to get that media. I don't think I get the players one, but somehow I need to get that media ticket somehow. If anybody knows anywhere I can do that, please let me know. Okay, so my last question for you: if you were, if you say, for example, you were a young pro of plus figures handicap, and you were on the fringes of, say, the England squad, what would be your advice on how you would progress from being a good amateur to being a top professional? Is it turning pro and learning your trade, or is it trying to go through the amateur circuit and get invites that way, play a few events as an amateur? What would you say would be your best advice for that?
I think they're really tough on this because there's so many people who've done it different ways, haven't they?
Yeah.
I would be the first to say that there's a lot of, you had David Halsey on yesterday. Came out of a stellar amateur career, fantastic amateur career. Fleetwood was on TV last night, talking to David Fearty. Stellar, the best amateur in the world at that time. So who can argue the fact that you go down that England route, you represent your country, you go and you play in the Walker Cup like Rory did, etc., like Dave Horsey, etc. And that's not a route, but there's as many that go that route that don't make it, as there are that go the other route and go turn pro when they're maybe not ready, become hungry, really seriously hungry young tour pros, and make it that way. And there's a real fine line, I think. I think you've just got to go with your gut. I really do.
Do you think it depends whether, if you're in the England squad fully and you're playing week in, week out, that's probably a deciding factor on that front. If you're someone on the fringes of it, but you're hungry to start earning money and start learning your trade, that's when maybe it would be going down a slightly different route.
Yeah, I think funding comes into it as well. Those top amateurs, they're in the England elite squad. They are funded to play amateur golf all over the world.
Yeah.
That's not the same as trying to make your living on the Challenge Tour.
No.
Where you and Tom have been, and had your struggles too. So that doesn't make you as hungry as perhaps you need to be. But then there are some fantastic players that have come out of that system. So, I don't think there's one cap fits all here at all. No,
I totally agree. Just want to thank you for your time tonight, Andrew. It's a fantastic insight and the answers to the questions.
Alex, all the best with your channel. It's a treat to see you doing so well, and thanks everybody for putting the questions in. And to Darren, of course.
He's getting I need to see this bakery. That's all I'm going to say to finish that off. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification. And I'll see you at the same time tomorrow. If I've not answered your questions tonight, I'm very sorry. We try to go through as many as we can. please do join us tomorrow, ask the questions, and we'll do our best to go through them all. Thank you. Thanks for that, Drew.